and their best, highest self. She teaches people to own, identify, and confront their weaknesses and vulnerability to facilitate change. She had a reputation of a pacifist and a team harmonizer, also calming the water and pulling the team together. A graduate of the University of the West Indies, she also completed several courses in media in Holland, the USA, South Korea, Benin, Japan, and as volunteer, she taught adult literacy to at-risk group through operational restoration in Trenchtown, through a Citizen Society of Justice program, and at the Mary's Child, she also managed an upscaling, employable program and survival for gender-based violence for children first. In 1996, she shattered social justice by hosting a television program wearing Nubian knots, aka China Bump, which forces Jamaican society to take a deep look at attitude towards natural black hairstyles. Miss Hutchinson is a justice of the peace, a member of the Miss Hutchinson is a justice of the peace, a member of the Council of Society Institute of Jamaica, a repici- a repici- a repis- a re- recipient, a recipient of the Language Ambassador Award from the City College of Birmingham, and of the Order of Distinction from the Government of Jamaica. Our most important role are woman of God, parent, good citizen, brother and sister's keeper. Ladies and gentlemen, today I present to you Miss Joanne Andrea Hutchinson.
And she hops all the way up to the podium here because she has a damaged Achilles tendon. So I'm in pain all the time, yeah? But thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the ones at the back, can you come a little forward, please? All right, we're going to count from 1 to 10, and the ones at the back are going to make their way up. 1. The ones at the front have to help me count. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, man, I don't see some of the people at the back moving. So I'm going to ask the children to do the counting now, right? And so when the children do the counting, all the ones at the back need to come forward. Children, count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you so much. Thanks for moving. So I have to put on my glasses because I can't function without it all the time. So I'd like to first of all acknowledge Pastor Ashley Morgan, host pastor. Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you very much. Minister Clevon Wright. Where's Minister Wright? Okay, great. And of course, Deaconess Tamara Martin, she's the president of the Women of Worth Ministry. So ladies and gentlemen, today, let me tell you now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time today quoting to you passages from the Bible because you know them even more than I do. That's not what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to pretend that I'm holier than anybody in here, because I'm not. I want to talk to you about us, how we embrace the concept of unity. Now, I say to people all the time, look, we get ourselves, let's use Jamaican language, we yam up ourselves very often over things that we don't need to yam up ourselves about. Very often you hear Christians say, oh, let go and let God. We love to trot out, let go and let God. But in fact, sometimes we're not letting go and letting God. We try a direct God and I tell God how to do him thing. You ask God, you pray. And when you pray in faith. I tell people that no matter what has happened in my life, my faith never breaks. My faith has never broken. I was explaining to somebody 2 days ago that I actually slept on the street in China because they stole all my money, my passport, my documents, etc. But in all of that, I had the faith to know that even though it was rough, God was going to bring me home. God was going to bring me home. You can't pray and then second guess God. People, don't pray and second guess God. You can't pray and say, God, I know, so it's going to happen. And then at the same time, you don't really believe it, right? So when we look now at the issue of unity within the church, within the school, wherever, a lot of times when there is disunity, we have to first introspect. Okay, so a lot of times when there is disunity, people, you know where we have to start? This person. Anybody know the prayer, what they call the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi? Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with? Not begin with my neighbor, not begin with my cousin, not begin with pastor, not begin with deaconess. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And I find that very often when there are problems of disunity and miscommunication and people vex with one another, very often we're not turning the mirror and looking at self first. And very often, let me tell you something, you in Jamaican people say you have a way of take on things. Sometimes we take on things that not necessary to take on. You don't know the day that the person in front of you has had. You don't know what kind of problem they're going through. But somebody said to you, you say good morning, the person morning. And then you take it up and say the person snubbed you, and the person don't have no manners. And you don't know what that person is going through. Sometimes there's a lot of buried anger, a lot of buried hatred, a lot of buried pain. But, sometimes when you have like a boil, when you have a boil on your skin, one of the things that they have to do is to open it and let whatever is in it run. In order for you to understand some of your own buried pain, some of the things that you're coming with. Now, I know, for example, women don't walk around and talk like them have big foot. I wear size 12. I don't shame. But guess what? Having acknowledged that about myself, you can't, your foot big in John, and then I'm upset. She rude to me and no, because I have acknowledged that about myself. So the first thing you need to do is understand you. Understand. Of course, there are times when I'm upset that my friend them can go to the store and buy pretty shoes and it's not easy to get to there. And I said, but God, you know what? There are people who don't have any feet at all. There are people who can't walk, God. So who is me to complain? Say my foot big, but God still give me 2 foot to stand up on. You must get up every single day. Me not preach, okay? Because I'm not a preacher. But people, you have to get up every day with a spirit of gratitude. You have to get up because no matter how hard it is, you look out, you can see the sun. You can see 2 mango on 1 tree. You can see 2 breadfruit, whatever. The point is you have to live in gratitude. You see all these people around you, you don't know the person next to you. You don't know what that person is going through. So practice kindness all the time. Kindness is something that it makes you feel better. It makes the other person feel better. So when we talk about issues of like disunity in a space, people think, okay, so it's church and so everything's supposed to be perfect and wonderful. We know it is not. Why? Because we're human beings and we all come to this space with 20, 30, 40, 50 years of being on our own or behaving in different kind of ways, and you